Okay, we'll keep it up to date and see if we can get anybody. Thank you. All right, Thal.
Eric, and for more on this now and what immigration could mean for the midterms, we go to Saagar in Jetty. He's a White House correspondent at the Daily Caller. Okay, Saagar, so if the midterms are about immigration and ICE, which political party stands to win?
Well, there's promising signs actually for both different political parties, which I think is very interesting. We see that the president is galvanizing much of his base, and by emphasizing immigration, customs enforcement, and the Democrats' calls to abolish ICE at nearly every single major rally that he's given in the last couple of months. At the same time, we have this new upstart candidate in New York City, Miss Ocasio-Cortez, who is calling for the explicit abolition of ICE. And that has actually really seen a cascade of approval amongst a lot of different New York politicians. You have Senator Kristen Gillibrand coming out for it. You have New York City Mayor de Blasio endorsing the prospect, and you have Governor Andrew Cuomo. So this is something that is taking over the soul of the Democratic Party. And you've been covering, the protesters here very well today, and we see that they're turning out in absolutely massive numbers. This is something that is galvanizing on the left. So in terms of President Trump's supporters, this is something that they're going to look at the abolition of ICE. They're going to turn out in order to make sure that doesn't happen. And perhaps you have several on the left who do agree with many of the, the growing calls to abolish the agency.
And let's listen to Senator Gillibrand from New York. She's a Democrat, as you pointed out. Let's listen to her right now.
I believe that it has become a deportation force, and I think you should separate the criminal justice from the immigration issues, and I think you should reimagine ICE under a new agency with a very different mission and take those two missions out. And so we believe that we should protect families that need our help, and that is not what ICE is doing today, and that's why I believe you should get rid of it, start over, reimagine it, and build something that actually works.
Yeah, and Saagar, so there is Senator Gillibrand, and it's not clear if Governor Cuomo has called for the demolition of ICE. But I do want to ask you, can these two issues be challenged or promoted as one and the same? I talked to you about that, but I want to ask you next is, if they are challenged or promoted as one and in the same, would it be either party that's going to benefit from them, or is it somehow better to separate immigration and ICE?
Well, ICE is not strictly an immigration force. It is a criminal illegal alien deportation force. I think the vast majority of the people that ICE deals with are not, these families at the border that are being separated, though they've been linked to that. What they are really is they go through the interior of the country and they search for people who are criminal illegal aliens, often many illegal aliens who have been deported several times and have committed felonies or gang members like MS-13. And those are the people that ICE deals with. So there's actually been a bit of a conflation on the left to say that ICE is really responsible for family separation at the border, when in reality it's a lot of different agencies. We have Border Patrol, which is doing the apprehension.
Right, and I want to jump in there because I'm running short, but I want to pull up a tweet from the president touting ICE. The president says, "To the great and brave women, men and women of ICE, do not worry or lose your spirit. You are doing a fantastic job of keeping us safe by eradicating the worst criminal elements. So brave. The radical left Dems want you out. Next, it will be all police. Zero chance. It will never happen." So if ICE is seen strictly as law enforcement, border security, might that change how voters see the agency?
It certainly could change it. And that's exactly the president's message, which is going into the midterms. He's saying that Democrats essentially want to abolish a law enforcement agency charged with removing criminals from our society. And given the immigration message that he had throughout the 2016 campaign and much of the rhetoric on the left that we see today, he thinks that is a very clear, good message for him and for the Republican Party. I expect to see more of those calls for protecting ICE and for admonishing the Democrats from Republican lawmakers like Paul Ryan and Kevin McCarthy in the coming days.
And Saagar, finally, if the 2,342 children, including infants, remain separated from their families come November, how does that impact the will of the voters?
That certainly could have an impact, but we have seen that HHS has been moving rather quickly. I think they've reunited approximately 500 of the 2,000 separated families in recent weeks, although the number has now encroached up. The Trump administration and the president himself recognizes that this isn't a particularly good look for them, and I expect that the executive branch will be moving quickly to expedite that process through HHS. And the secretary has said that they are moving as quickly as possible, but there's a lot of bureaucratic moves that stop them from moving quickly in some cases.
Saagar and Jetty, we have to leave it there. The Daily Caller, White House correspondent. Thank you, Saagar.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.